I'm shocked with the pushback after the Arizona Cardinals played Clayton Tune for 3 quarters in a preseason game. Jonathan Gannon has it under control. Okay, let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I didn't know that I had to do this again. I didn't want to have to do this again, but I'm going to have to do it again. Discuss about how the coaches have things under control. Preseason doesn't matter when the game looks like it did in Denver. I'll discuss it. But it begs the question, do the Cardinals need to look for a third-string quarterback and part ways with Clayton Tune? Okay, I'll discuss that in the second time. And finally, is it going to be Clayton Tune for 4 quarters in Vegas in the final preseason game? Or is there going to be any sort of surprise where you may see the starters? Discuss that in the final segment. Here's the thing. In my 9 years hosting this show, this is the 9th, I have never been more calm as pertaining to wondering if the head coaching staff and the coaching staff as a whole has things under control more than I am now. Even with Bruce Arians, even with the winning. From the front office down, this is the most stable the organization has been. So maybe, just maybe, Jonathan Gannon knows what the hell he's doing. Maybe. Maybe Nick Rawls and Drew Petzing took last weekend off. Maybe he's given other guys on the coaching staff the chance to call plays because he's been through it. Josh Weinfuss put out a great tweet kind of summarizing this. ESPN Arizona Cardinals writer. Jonathan Gannon worked his way up from the bottom. So maybe he wants to give some other dudes on the staff a chance to call plays in a game that quite literally doesn't matter. Maybe he has things under control. Maybe we don't deserve to know everything. Maybe. So the flooding of pushback on this game. The Cardinals are in trouble. You need depth on a roster to win. Yeah, no bleep. The players who played the final 3 quarters of the game against Denver were the depth guys to the depth guys. Guys that are fighting for roster spots. Guys that are fighting for the between 15 and 20 practice squad spots. That's what we saw. When you play Clayton Tune, you're making the point known that things are already set. Do you think Jonathan Gannon would be so unfair to guys on offense who maybe had a chance to crack the top 4 wide receivers and play Clayton Tune? Do you think that he didn't think about that? Do you think that he didn't think about that? That's why he played Jacoby Brissett and Xavier Weaver and Simi Fehoko early. You got the touchdown, you pulled them, and that's it. And on top of that, with the play calling, it's not the coordinator fault, whoever calls the plays, that Clayton Tune's scared to throw it beyond the line of scrimmage. And it's not Clayton Tune's fault that the offensive line, the depth guys to the depth guys, aren't very good NFL players as compared to actual NFL players who start every week. Maybe Jonathan Gannon knows what he's talking about. All he's been is a pillar of stability. He took over a crap box franchise with a hurt quarterback one and completely changed the landscape of how this team is run. With the help of Monty Ossenford, of course, and Nick Rawls and Drew Petzing, Jeff Rodgers, among others. So one preseason game, the wild overreaction to a preseason game absolutely blows my gasket. I don't understand it. I understand being competitive. I understand, oh, it's a bad look because they weren't competitive. Nobody's going to remember this tomorrow. If you question Jonathan Gannon's journey from where he was at the start of the 2023 season to now, and you question his competitive nature based off of one preseason game, shame on you. Shame on you. It's short-sighted. We talk about being better here every day. As we talk about thinking like adults, that is not thinking like an adult. That is thinking with petulance and a lack of foresight. Shame on you for thinking that that is what Jonathan Gannon would bring to the table in a game where competitiveness actually mattered. Shame on you for thinking that those guys who were on the field that day weren't fighting for their life to get their next paycheck. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? The sky isn't always falling, and we're not in heaven. It's not one or the other, ever. It's varying degrees of things. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. It's always in the gray. It's always a yin-yang. So to think that the sky is falling because the Arizona Cardinals lost 27-7 to a Denver Broncos team when the Cardinals pulled their second string guys after the first quarter, and you think there's some real merit in, oh, well, you know what? You want to be competitive. You want to show face. It's the preseason. It doesn't matter. And for you to think that that is the microcosm of who Jonathan Gannon is as a competitor, shame on you. It's not smart to think that way. Look at the body of work. Look at what he's done. And I'm not even talking about wins and losses, because with the wins and losses, it's not great. He's got 13 wins or 12 wins in his first 2 years as a head coach. But if you think the microcosm of his competitive nature and the competitive nature of this organization since he and Monty Osborne took over was on display in Denver during a preseason game where Clayton Tune was the quarterback for 3 quarters, shame on you. How can you be so blind to see what's going on in front of you? That's what you're going to base it on? Give me a break. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Is it time to bring in another quarterback 3, though? Is that something that should be discussed after watching what Clayton Tune did? What it was, 20 completion or 20 attempts for 65 yards or something in 3 quarters? We'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hundreds. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even starts, this is your moment. Listen, the Cardinals have some juicy odds, whether it's Kyler Murray MVP, winning a Super Bowl, Jonathan Gannon Coach of the Year. Like, dude, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be a darling on FanDuel Futures Day. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. Check out the Cardinals Squad Show every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Arizona time, which will be, changing in a couple. The time zones will be changing, so it'll always be 6 o'clock Arizona time, and then immediately following the game. Well, immediately following me, that's immediately following the game. I'm just going to do a 15-minute. I'm not going to do a full show post game. It'll just be a quick reaction show, 15, 20 minutes max, and then regularly scheduled Monday through Friday followed by myself, Jameel Douglas, and Ben Garcia for a full hour. Much more interactive. Join us. We had our most viewed show this past weekend after the Denver game. So thank you for, double dipping if you do. It's only going to go up from here, baby. It's only going to go up from here. So I'm going to coin my one of my favorite movies during my late teens, early 20s years in Half Baked. Dave Chappelle, very young Dave Chappelle, said in kind of a funny voice, "I'm sorry for yelling." Okay. I'm sorry for yelling. I just don't understand it. I don't understand the vitriol. I don't understand the questioning. I don't understand it. He's got it under control. Okay? Let's not let that be what people look at through a microscope and forget everything that he's done since coming here. Okay? Is it time for the Cardinals to bring in another quarterback, though? This is like, no. Here's why Jacoby Brissett's so important. First of all, he's big, okay? He's burly, take hits, he's been through it, doesn't get injured often, okay? So there's no, jumping a million steps ahead. If something were to happen to Kyler Murray, the season is by and large over. Now, Jacoby Brissett, very serviceable. Say Kyler Murray misses a month. Jacoby Brissett, depending on who the Cardinals play, can 100% take them to 2-2 or 3-1 in those games. Okay, he's very Colt McCoy like that. Spot start backups, the good ones. That's why they make good money. Jacoby Brissett's getting paid pretty handsomely to be the Arizona Cardinals backup. Okay. That's why he was brought in. That's why he was the unsung signing. Him and Calais Campbell, the two most important, texture signings for the Cardinals this offseason. You don't have to worry. If Kyler Murray misses a game or two, Jacoby Brissett can 100% step in and win games. That's what matters. If Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett get hurt, the season's over. It doesn't matter. So you may as well roll out Clayton Tune anyways. That's so far-fetched from happening, knock on wood. This is a gross overreaction to all of the cosmos lining up to show the Cardinals put together a crap box 45 minutes of football in a game that didn't matter. That's it. That is it. Okay? And these are all just the world today. Everything is an overreaction. Everything is right away. You got to know everything right away. So to quote the poet, Catherine Fitzgerald, who used to cover the Arizona Cardinals for AZ Central, she now is she's on the Buffalo Bills beat. This is what she tweeted out as the Bills were getting absolutely railroaded this past weekend. The tweet is, Bears score again, and they lead 14-0. Not the best day so far from the Bills, but also none of this is real. End quote. Couldn't have said it better myself, Catherine. Couldn't have said it better myself. But the bigger picture is, all sarcasm and snark aside, carrying three quarterbacks is kind of anyways. I don't know if they're going to dress three. I don't know if Clayton Tune is just relegated to the practice squad at this point. It's tough enough to bring in any sort of substantiated talent to a backup role. It's a different type of person who becomes a backup quarterback and journeys around the NFL. It takes a special type of person. It's not just talent level. It's type of person. Jacoby Brissett's been on 6 teams. 7. We started with New England. I think he went to Indy. He was in Miami, Cleveland. He's been around. And yeah, he's had to start everywhere. He's had to start everywhere for some reason or another. I think when Andrew Luck retired, Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback there. He was the backup and he ended up starting. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But the dude he's been in the league a decade. He's going to be fine. So if you bring there, like who do you bring in as a third string quarterback? It's just not a thing. It's just not a thing. If something were to like, say hypothetically speaking, something were to happen to Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett, let's just knock on wood. Let's just say we trade for Jameis Winston or something. There's plenty of guys you could trade for a backup quarterback from a different team and give a 5th round pick or something. Yeah, it's not ideal, but the Cardinals started Josh Dobbs for a half of a season after being with the team for less than 2 weeks. They've been through worse. They've been through worse. And just like, it was one preseason game. Clayton Tune's not going to play in the regular season. Okay? He's not going to play in the regular season. So let's just chill out. Let's take a step back and understand the Cardinals are in the best spot they've been. Like, they're in the best spot that they've been in at least the last decade, depth-wise, on both sides of the ball. 1-22 starting on game day. This is not the top-heavy nature that the Arizona Cardinals used to be. It is on offense, because Trey McBride's elite and Marv has the capability of being that. James Conner is a top 14 running back. He's fringe RB1, if you're talking in fantasy football nomenclature. But like, people forget so quickly that none of it, like, to answer the question, no. The Cardinals don't need to make any sort of move quarterback-wise. But it does beg the question, what is the next preseason game for? That begs the question. Do you start Clayton Tune in Vegas? You know what? I'm gonna package these two. I'm gonna talk about this second because I want to talk about something else. This is how we do it on this show. I'm starting Clayton Tune in Vegas the entire game. Yes. There's no reason for Jacoby Brissett to play. There's no reason for Kyler Murray to play. There's no reason for anybody to play who is starting in week 1 or who is a backup to a starter in week 1. It's over. They got their run. Every NFL team is going to be rusty week 1. It's just what it is. I think we've seen the polarization of the preseason this year just across the NFL. We've seen it. Like, the starters play a little bit. Joe Burrow was getting sacked and stuff. Like, yeah, you don't want... What are we doing? But then you see, you run a couple plays, you score a touchdown, you get off the field, or whatever it is. That's important too, but it's so polarizing. It is so polarizing. So at this point, you've come all the way through camp. Yes, Walter Nolan's injured. Bilal Nichols and BJ Ojolari and Will Hernandez are still on the PUP list. But by and large, you made it through camp and the preseason unscathed, including what looked to be, pretty competitive joint practice with the Denver Broncos. Take it. And I'm not saying, I have to do this disclaimer, even though some people don't, I always like to. That doesn't mean that the people who are playing on Saturday night in Vegas aren't important human beings who, if they get injured, it's a good, that's not, come on, that's ridiculous. And I should say, maybe, for Clayton Tune, at least, that's 4 quarters to get tape for other teams if they want to bring him in and think that he can work in their system better in the Cardinals system if they wanted, if the Cardinals end up moving off from him at some point. So it's going to be beneficial for him. It's going to be beneficial for everybody playing on Saturday night, if not for joining the Arizona Cardinals roster or practice squad, but to put on tape what they can do to, continue their NFL journey. Yeah. Start Clayton Tune, all 60 minutes, Saturday night in Vegas. I'm going to explain why Clayton Tune came in so early into the game last week. It's going to put into perspective why Jonathan Gannon did it. Okay? We'll do that next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at the Game Time app. Have you ever decided last minute to go to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's a great day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. So with the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even, invite a bigger group to come with you. And Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple, and prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying tickets. Like the seat views right in the app before you buy, you can see what your vantage point will be. So you want to go Chase Field? Like, hey, I want to sit in the 220s. I've never sat there before. Let's check it out. Go to the 220s, you click on it, it shows you a panoramic view of what you're going to see before you buy the tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price. Get Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. You know the drill. The reason why Jonathan Gannon didn't need to see any more from Jacoby Brissett or anybody else from the wide receiver position specifically is this is what it looks like when you run it back. There are no spots. There is no jockeying for position like there is on the defense. It's Marvin Harrison Jr., it's Michael Wilson, it's Zay Jones, it's Greg Dortch, it's James Conner, it's Trey Benson, it's Kyler Murray, it's Paris Johnson Jr. and the entire offensive line. There's no jockeying for position. There is no, is there somebody that can beat out Michael Wilson? No, they didn't draft anybody. They didn't bring anybody in. Having Zay Jones have a full offseason with this wide receiver group and Kyler Murray, that's it. That's the spot. Greg Dortch is going to be there, okay? So Simi Fehoko is probably going to make the roster, and my buddy Bo Brock's going to join me tomorrow, actually, to give his thoughts on all this stuff. If they carry 6, they already got him. So it's not like, what about the guys trying to make the roster? It's already set. You already running it back. And then on defense, they've got so much depth and so many question marks. But again, the good question marks like Max Melton or Will Johnson. Max Melton didn't play. Will Johnson did in the second preseason game. So I think that answer's there. And these are things that are subject to change like crazy. Cody Simon played the entire first half. Owen Pappo played the entire second half. Akeem Davis-Gaither didn't play as much. So when you look at Cody Simon and the quotes from Jonathan Gannon about the inside linebacker position, that is a very close race. I would assume ADG's got the leg up, but if it's close, give it to the rook. That's what we say on this show. And it's not rushing, and it's not something that can be rescinded, that can't be rescinded. Just let her rip. But on defense, like there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen and only 11 spots, which is a good thing. It's a different thing because they added a bunch of talent in the draft and in free agency. The entirety of the offseason, by and large, was on the defensive side of the ball. We know this. The Cardinals have their depth on the offensive line, bringing in Will Hernandez and having Beach and John Gaines. Everything's set. You didn't need to do anything else. It would have been equally beneficial for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025 for the last half of the game against Denver if Clayton Tune just took a knee every snap. It would have been equally as impactful because everything is already done. Everything is already in Sharpie. Sure, the depth chart could shift. Like maybe Zay Jones really emerges and he shows his vet prowess and becomes wide receiver 2. Sure, he and Michael Wilson could flip flop. Greg Dortch could emerge as a wide receiver 2, like I'd like him to see. But you've got the guys, and then you've got the ancillary. You got the ancillary wide receivers and Simi Fehoko and Xavier Weaver, and it's what it's going to be. And you've got Trey McBride, you've got Tip Ryan, you've got Elijah Higgins. Like there are no spots for like a a training camp darling to emerge into. I mean, Simi Fehoko is the closest thing to that. He got the touchdown pass from Jacoby Brissett. He had another touchdown on that drive. Xavier Weaver has had the dropsies through camp and in games, but he can be electric. He caught a touchdown pass in the first preseason game from Jacoby Brissett on the slant. Like, that's why it was palatable for me. I'm like, I understand why this is happening. Oh, they're not being competitive. Oh, Jonathan, it's like, stop. It's a preseason game when everything's already set, and that's what that looks like. But I want to avert our eyes to whatever's going to happen Saturday night in Vegas if nobody plays again. But one last hurdle to figure out exactly what it's going to be, exactly who the 56 are going to be, 53 are going to be, exactly who the 17 are going to be on the PS, and off to the damn races into New Orleans. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Trust that Jonathan Gannon knows what the hell he's doing. Okay? Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.